戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
Crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is December 17th, 2025. We're live to tape on episode 901, and today, anointed with oil. Razzle Dazzle, I'm your, signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Woo, clear those sinuses. Today, according to the Canary Cry calendar, is the anniversary of the official end of Project Blue Book, which ended in 1969.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Yeah, they investigated 12,618 UFO reports between the years of 1952 and 1969, and they found it was just weather balloons.
Oh, what a relief.
Yeah, I mean,
what a relief. I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually a very interesting coinky dink of the calendar there, because today everybody's talking about Disclosure Day, which actually sounds kind of like a Donald Trump branded announcement, about disclosure, but it's actually a
golden disclosure.
New film by Steven
Spielberg.
That's his name, Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
It's coming out in about 6 months, so we got some time to get into it, but we'll save that for another day. But Gonz, today is also perhaps another kind of disclosure day. A lot of hype flying around today, Gonz. I don't know if you've noticed this. There's always, of course, something. And I'm not talking about the Candace Owens, Erica.
Oh, I thought I thought, did they make up now? I think Candace's audience is abandoning Candace now. She has turned on us.
That's what I hear. I hear that the consensus among Candace viewers or fans or whatever is that Candace has been replaced by a clone. When she went to meet with Erica, they grabbed her and replaced her by a clone. So. Or something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
Totally possible.
Who cares? Because there's more important things going on, Gonz.
What?
Yes, big day today. The hype train is rolling, and it's coming from our buddy Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States of America.
He did announce that we would live in a new age.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent.
They're coming after me.
They're coming after me. Well, a truth post by Donald J. Trump says, "My fellow Americans, I will be giving an address to the nation tomorrow night, live from the White House at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to, quote, seeing you then." it's
Why?
how you know he wrote it himself, because there's like he's got such a beautiful mind with the capitalization and the air quotes. Nobody knows what it means. I'm sure actually maybe the Q folks know exactly what it means, because it ends with, it has been a great year for our country, and all caps, the best is yet to come. President Donald J. Trump. Now, Gons, you and I are not big Q heads, so this did not occur to me when I saw it. But of course, the Q heads came out of their holes, and apparently the best is yet to come has something to do with Q, which Trump is very good at I guess wielding the Q thing, for better or for worse. But that's not all. Big announcement by Trump this morning. But it seems the word has spread. There's been some sort of campaign, some sort of whisper campaign that promises that this will be a life-changing announcement tonight. Let's start with this clip of Tucker, who is on the Andrew Napolitano podcast, I guess. No, show. It's just a show. Judging Freedom.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. Evil people do evil things purely for the dark joy of being evil. Evil. Go eat each other. That's the Tucker Carlson program.
Is Trump going to start a war in Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know when this program airs, the one that we're on right now. This thing's maybe live.
We're live now, and then it'll be posted immediately. So
that's funny.
Right
so
now,
my sense is, I don't know the answer. I've certainly been on the phone a lot about it. I have no power. I'm a podcaster, but I'm very interested. And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9:00 by the president. Who knows, by the way, if that will actually happen? I don't know. And I never want to overstate what I know, which is pretty limited in general.
Is Trump
okay? All right.
Okay.
There we go. This is a bad look for all podcasters. He's setting the precedent as all podcasters have no power. There's nothing that they really do other than yell into microphones. But also ironic coming from Mr. Tucker Carlson, man who can speak words and potentially markets move. I mean,
he is. Well, he's the mouthpiece. He's the podcast mouthpiece of the kind of CIA milieu is what he is. He's so humble. Love that. Just a podcaster, but also he got the call.
Yes.
Maybe not the call, but he got a call. He says he got a call from ambiguous Congress people that there's going to be a big announcement, and perhaps it has something to do with war with Venezuela.
Is that the best? Is that the best that's coming up that Trump's talking about?
Doesn't quite match the tone of the best is yet to come, but who knows? Well, that's not all. We also had Ann Vandersteel, who's a sort of MAGA enthusiast. She hangs around Mar-a-Lago, podcaster person. And she's got something to say too.
Just had an incredible evening in Mar-a-Lago with America's Future. Absolutely love General Flynn, love his family, saw dear friends from back in the early podcasting days to the most recent days of the work I've been doing. And I'm just very grateful that we have an incredible group of people that still love our country, still see hope, and we'll drop little tidbits like tune in to the president's speech tomorrow because something big is dropping right before. I don't know what. I wasn't given the inside details, but a little birdie said, make sure You pay attention to what's happening tomorrow. So, folks, this is it. This is your message. Hope everybody has a great night.
This is it.
I know what's happening. I know what's happening.
What is it? That certainly would change everything. That'd be nice. Uh-oh, I lost my mouse. I'm going to find it very sneakily. Also, to reflect just the true level of this little birdie whisper campaign coming out of Mar-a-Lago. Rob Cunningham says, my fellow Americans, I believe the long-awaited storm before us is actually truth in motion. Thank you, AI, for writing this tweet. Our new birth of freedom and sovereignty will be revealed tonight. And those who have long rigged, controlled, and reigned hell over the earth will not be pleased. Tonight's presidential address should be one of the most profound, world-changing speeches in America's 250
Oh my goodness,
years.
they're really hyping this up. Hey, we're going on record right before this historic speech. Do you really think it's going to be earth-shattering? Is he going to talk about UFOs? Is he going to say, I hear they're interdimensional, or whatever? Is it going to be? What is the deal here?
Gonna be one of the most profound, world-changing speeches in America's 250-year history, guys.
We must be very jaded. I must be very jaded because I don't believe it.
You're a podcaster. You're a podcaster.
Yeah, I have no power. You're right. Tucker's right. I have no power. It doesn't matter what I think. I just go along.
It is. I would like to refer to the timeline that we started tracking on Monday, and the big Monday announcement, which was also very important, was the White House announcement of designating fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, where the White House officially designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And for those who are maybe older than 28, will immediately remember that the legal phrase weapon of mass destruction is what was used to justify going into Iraq, not Afghanistan, but Iraq, to really pump up the 20-year-long forever war. That was really the thing that kept the American economy moving. Because remember, we have been in a wartime economy for about 80 years now. We know nothing except for wartime economy. And of course, 6 months to the day, we called it to the day when Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, officially ending that Middle Eastern war. Ukraine started. Then a couple of years later, we got Gaza. And Trump's, even the liberals have to admit that ending, what is it? Did he end 9 wars, 7 wars? I forget what it was.
8 wars, 9 wars. Yeah, the number just keeps going up.
No wonder the economy is in trouble, Gons. He's ending too many wars. We gotta keep these wars.
Gotta grease the wheels a little bit with the blood of innocents and maybe some natural resources that make the world
and
go
just in time, reported today, this is from ABC News, Trump announces complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers in and out of Venezuela. President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that he called a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers going into or out of Venezuela, ratcheting up American pressure on the regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Well, remember last week, there was a seizing of a big oil tanker coming out of Venezuela. And for those who didn't really pay attention, they were so enraged that Trump was stealing Venezuelan oil for no reason. He just wants the oil. It's the oil. And it was only later reported quietly that that particular tanker was actually sanctioned and wasn't supposed to be doing anything. It was supposed to be parked indefinitely. So it was sort of driving without a license, you might say. Does that mean, the world police, they're going to get you. If you're moving oil around sanctioned, you're going to get busted. The article continues, quote, Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. Trump wrote in a lengthy post on his social media platform. They didn't even name Truth Social. They just said his social media. Ooh, burn, ABC. Quote, "It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before until such time as they return to the United States of America. All of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us." Here we go. It was not immediately clear what stolen oil and land Trump was referring to. ABC News has reached out to the White House for comment. However, under Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, the Venezuelan government expropriated assets from some American oil companies after the country nationalized oil fields in 2007. So it's not immediately clear what stolen oil Trump is talking about, but we are ABC News, so maybe it was the oil and land they stole from American corporations in 2007. Could be, maybe.
Oh, yeah, so Trump is the judgment. He is retaliation and judgment for
Chavez
stealing from the big oil corpse. How dare you?
Oil. Now, it's really interesting, and this is a bit of a, well, excuse me. Oh my gosh.
Whoa, you turned into a robot, folks. It's finally happening. It's all crumbling. As you catch your breath there, I will mention that, yeah, we pointed out also that it was reported that there was oil on the tankers last week in Venezuela. And I remember you saying, like, it's drugs. And then, like, 2 days later, they're like, fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was quote unquote oil on that tank, I mean,
so a little bit of a side note, but it's really trippy. I don't know when the last time any of y'all listeners read Ayn Rand's
the Ayn Rand, yeah.
Atlas Shrugged,
Oh,
which is crazy. It's a big book. It's kind of a thick book. Everybody talks about it because of like the political message or something.
Yeah.
But I'm currently reading it, and it is absolutely bizarre how similar the events in that book is to the events of the last 5 or 10 years, all the way down to this, the expropriation of assets of, corporations, blah, blah, blah. It is very bizarre, even down to like all of the culture wars over the past 10 years or something. I think that, Atlas Shrugged should be referred to, I'm only about 200 pages in, and there's like 7,000 pages, but it's almost time to start referring to Atlas Shrugged in the same way that you refer to like Brave New World or 1984. Just
people have, people on the left primarily have. It's
right.
Interesting. It's been like the conservatives and the right who bring up 1984, George Orwell, or Brave New World. But yeah, Ayn Rand was always used by the left as sort of like, hey, see, this horrible thing can happen with corporations and whatnot. And
and they use it. It's funny because they use it against the actual message in the book. Like they obviously didn't read it.
They didn't read it.
They're like, oh yeah, corporation's bad. Oh yeah, it's like it's totally it's kind of referred to as like a libertarian kind of text or super conservative kind of text, but it's just really bizarre how I guess prophetic. Just
I would imagine. And this trend in general of these, I would say maybe 20th century oracle types, the George Orwells and the Aldous Huxleys, and there's many others who wrote about the future, and those are the popular ones. But there's a whole bunch of authors who wrote about the potential dangers of the future, and they did it through fiction or science fiction or story or fantasy or whatever, or just academic books and stuff. But I believe a lot of these popular ones have shaped and informed decisions by world leaders and whatnot. And what we're doing now with AI, with what we'll talk about with prediction markets. And do you remember, Basil, the Master of Anticipatory Intelligence, MAI?
No.
In the US. You don't remember this from the
you're gonna have to remind me.
It's like a new program that they have for professional degrees. It's focused on STEM, but it's all based on like AI, critical thinking, all this kind of stuff, but it's a academic lineage to the future of intelligence, which involves anticipatory intelligence, like anticipating things that'll happen. And it's almost like they are breeding human minds to formulate that future, kind of like the Minority Report thing where they got those oracles in submerged in goo and the whole thing.
Classic social engineering,
right?
It's also there's revelation of the method. There's all sorts of versions. Speaking of which, Gons, you mentioned the sort of mid 20th century prophetic texts. They made If you look, I put a link under our section there. There is a animated film, Animal Farm, coming out next year.
Yeah, hey,
Farm, you actually recently brought up Animal Farm.
I bring it up all the time. I bring it up all the time as like a warning against us that we always want to take down the system, and it's a warning.
We know. Yes, there's a new
against
Animal Farm. There's a few weird details about this. So I don't know if we want to watch the trailer. The trailer kind of refers a little bit to what's weird about this one. Do you want to watch the trailer and tell me what you think is maybe off?
Do you want me to put the sound or anything, or?
Well, you got to have the sound if you want to do it. Here, go to the beginning, turn it on, and so for those who need a reminder, Animal Farm is a farm. The animals become in charge. They kick out the humans. It is a allegory against Soviet Russia at the time, the dangers of communism, which basically, the animals take over the farm, take it from the capitalists or whatever. It's about the Bolshevik Revolution. Then the pigs, who are farm animals, they move into the farmer's house and they start wearing clothes. And then the pigs, who wanted to make this like communist,
they started the revolution. They got all the animals on the farm to support them.
Right. They basically become the humans. They become the authoritarians. They become, sort of power hungry, and then they start hurting everybody. And it's an allegory about the Bolshevik Revolution, where there's the communist revolution, and then those who got put in charge of communism became the sort of monsters that they were fighting against. And this is why communism never works, right? Okay, there's the basic concept. Let's watch this trailer. I know it feels like we're going off topic, but we're not. Play this and tell me, you feel free to stop it when something feels a little off.
Okay, right away.
Okay.
Chicken on top of a sign that's supposed to read Manor Farm, but the OR is clearly fallen off. So it just says Man Farm.
Okay, let's not do a full breakdown frame by frame.
You asked me to stop the clip when I see something. You can't do that. My brain stops at everything. I cannot watch these things anymore.
Don't yell. Creativity requires boundaries. Okay, so I'm going to set some boundaries for you. Right. Okay. We're not looking for symbolism. We're not looking for.
I didn't know what you were pointing at.
I know, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you the boundaries. Okay. We're looking for major story plot points that maybe change the message a little bit.
Hi, Lucky.
What's up? By the way, stop it. This is from Angel Studios.
Yeah.
Angel Studios, they didn't make it, but Angel Studios purchased this film. Now, Angel, as far as the colloquial, knowledge about Angel Studios, is that they are, they make Christian movies, and they've been pumping them out. All their movies are kind of Christian based. Some people have told me that they're actually Mormon. I haven't gone in so deep to check, but they're the ones putting out like David for, the David movie or the Jesus movie or the Easter movie, or then they even do adult films too. They did some like cool, I think it was called Homestead, that kind of stuff. But so this is coming from Angel Studios, who does all the Christian movies.
Okay. All right. We're not doing a breakdown, but also just to know from
Good to know.
the get-go who's behind it. Yep.
Going on vacation.
I do hope it's somewhere good. What does that say?
Laughter House.
That sounds awesome. I love to laugh.
It's a slaughterhouse.
Look at all this deliciousness. They want this.
Do you want to be food or do you want freedom?
Then
let's fight for it. We're free. Whatever goes upon two legs.
I'll just say, anytime there's a little, name drop on the beginning, based on the masterpiece by George Orwell.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Angel Studios. Let's just do a little homework on George Orwell before we.
Well, that's what they're trying. You watch this and go, oh my gosh, they're doing Animal Farm. That has so much to do with what we're dealing with, what we're facing right now, where it's, this buildup of communist sentiment and social. Oh my gosh, this is good. Let's make sure our kids can learn the lessons of Animal Farm. Keep going.
Whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy.
4 legs, good. 2 legs, bad.
No animal shall wear clothes.
Puff, what? We're show pigs.
And all animals are equal.
Animals running a farm? I had to see it for myself.
Thank you.
We're getting copyright struck so bad right now.
Activate cute eyes.
I'd rather gouge them out.
I want.
Whoa, this is like future. What is this? A technocratic super future?
Yeah, we've got a technocratic oligarch.
Yeah.
The farmhouse. So the humans know we're in charge.
You are about to become my new best friends. Pigs and humans working together. I like the optics.
Oh, we love the optics. What are optics?
I think it's a kind of seafood.
Wow.
You're wearing clothes.
Would you look at that? I am.
Everything's different, but we're still friends.
All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
This is our home.
Squealer!
I parked the car!
Let's have no one do that again.
Animal Farm. A cautionary tales. In theater.
Oh, I was going to say May 1st. So it is Illuminati Day, the day of release.
Yeah.
May Day release. The villain.
Yes, go for it. Yes.
Oh, okay, so this is something I did notice. The villain resembles somebody in pop culture. To me, it was Mae Musk.
Yes, it is Elon Musk's mother.
Thank you. All right, great. I'm not crazy.
No, and so she is. This is the retelling of Animal Farm. It's all the same. Animals take over. They have their communist utopia, and instead of in the book, the pigs take over and naturally become authoritarians. They're saying that Elon Musk's mom or tech oligarchs, corporate, oligarchs, come in and they're the ones who ruined the communist utopia.
They influenced the leaders. Yes, they
was working perfectly until the billionaires showed up. And it's the billionaires that made communism not work. It is a total retelling of Animal Farm, which is giving almost the precise opposite message as the original Animal Farm.
I noticed that too. Yeah, it's like we got to fight. At least in the trailer. But yeah, the resemblance is uncanny. I mean, this is where, for those of you watching, we have Mae Musk on the screen, and here's the villain. It's like identical. They both got the short gray hair. They got the
and in the movie. Look. Yeah, she like drives a Cybertruck.
Yeah, it looks like it's definitely.
She's total, yeah. So in the new retelling, we might be thinking, Oh, wow, good. Animal Farm, another thing to teach our kids that whatever, communism's not what it's all cracked up to be. Now they'll learn the only reason communism doesn't work is because of corporate billionaires, which is the message that the left today and for decades says every time you refer to all the reasons, all the times that communism hasn't worked, they say, well, it's just the capitalists come in and they mess it up. The capital, instead of George Orwell's actual message, which is no, it doesn't work because whoever is put in charge of the resources inevitably becomes the authoritarian. Go drunk with power. This is why, on a very basic human level, the ideals of communism don't work out. But in this case, of course, we got to retell it and say, no, it's the billionaires' fault. It's all the billionaires' fault, Gons. All of humans' moral deficiencies, all of our individual moral deficiencies come from the tech billionaires. So
I don't know.
What is Angel Studios doing? Totally opposite.
This is a takeover. It's just the disappointment of any Christian media content creation that they get big. Something happens. It's almost like there's a trade-off. Anytime you become the main line to the general public on entertainment, there's
if I had to make it make sense. And I'm not saying this is true, but this is if I'm putting on my rose-colored glasses and I'm, really getting sort of conspiratorial about it. Best case scenario, Angel Studios bought the picture because they didn't make it. They purchased it.
Right.
To inevitably sort of cancel its release. Or something goes wrong and it doesn't go out and brainwash all of our children.
Well, yeah, do the trailer so people like us could get. I like this 70 chess concept where we play a role in this, where we spark a flame. We say that this movie is making fun of Elon's mom. We get Elon's attention, and there's a big cancellation campaign, and there you go. You sacrifice the film on May 1st, Illuminati Day. It's perfect.
It could be. I mean, it's probably when they bought the film, there's probably a contract, that they're obligated to advertise it. They're obligated to do something.
There's a very myopic view of Angel Studios, but it's yes.
With no evidence whatsoever.
This is really putting the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it could be that they inevitably purchase it to kill it before it comes out and brainwashes all the kids into communism. I don't know. Maybe I've been reading too much Atlas Shrugged, because that's also a huge part of what happens there. Okay, back to the blockade, Gons. In the Post, Trump announced a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. Demanded the return of oil and assets. The Venezuelan government responded to Trump's post, calling his declaration a reckless and serious threat against the country that it says violates international law, free trade, and freedom of navigation. Quote, the president of the United States intends to impose in an absolutely irrational manner a supposed naval military blockade on Venezuela, with the objective of stealing the wealth that belongs in our homeland, the Venezuelan government said in a statement. The Venezuelan government said its ambassador to the United Nations will proceed to denounce the serious violation of international law against Venezuela. It called in, quote, the people of the world to reject Trump's announcement. Then it goes into Venezuela has the largest known oil reserves in the world, and oil exports are government's main source of revenue. There's a couple little subtle things in here. I don't know if they're going to matter, but when America puts sanctions, quote unquote, sanctions on something or someone, it is sometimes the sanctions are on the government, right? And that sanction basically means, hey, we're America, all of our friends together, we're all going to not do business with you, okay? Right. That doesn't mean they can't do business with not America's friends, but that's kind of the thing it's kind of like we're taking our ball, we're going home. The Venezuelan government is not the one sanctioned. specifically, and this is a very soft detail that you kind of got to dig around for. They're specifically sanctioned the boats who are delivering oil from Venezuela. So these sanctions are just on the boats. And in the precise words of the president, they are blockading the sanctioned boats. Now, are they going to, does that, it's unclear whether they're blockading all of Venezuela so no boats can get through, or if it's just these specific sanctioned boats. But this is a pretty big deal, a pretty big escalation, as the Venezuelan government is trying to communicate, but they're not, maybe it was ABC leaving out this detail, but one detail is that blockading is an act of war. This is actually what got Japan to bomb Pearl Harbor, was the United States put a blockade, an oil blockade around Japan and stopped Japan from getting oil. Japan said, this is an actual act of war, and so we're going to bomb Pearl Harbor. And they did, and they got into the war specifically because of the oil blockade. There's lots of sort of historians who wonder if the U.S. just didn't blockade Japan, if they would have gotten into the war at all. It was sort of this trigger that... And anyways, we can go, there's conspiracy theories about that. Like, did the United States want Japan to get in the war?
Yeah, we interviewed some people over the years that suggested that Japan was sort of pressured into going that route. And maybe not just in a straight geopolitical context.
All sorts of ways. So technically, a blockade isn't a legal act of war. And you can see this here, Brittanica.com, blockade, an act of war whereby one party blocks entry to or departure from a defined part of an enemy's territory. Most often its coasts. Blockades are regulated by international law and custom and require advanced warning to neutral states and impartial applications.
See, maybe they're not a neutral state at this point. Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, the neutral states would be like other states that Venezuela does business with, that aren't necessarily taking sides. Because, blockading a country, that doesn't just hurt that country. It hurts the countries that are trying to sell their products or bring them in or receive them, Just a fun little detail here. International law regarding blockades. In a memorandum prepared for the London Naval Conference of 1908 and 09, the British government defined a blockade as an act of war carried out by the warships of a belligerent, detailed to prevent access or departure from a defined part of the enemy's coast. And it goes on. So, there's this weird little gray space, and maybe it's just a gray space for me, and I'm just thinking about it too much. But the blockade is specifically on these sanctioned boats, these sort of rogue boats. They haven't claimed, or I have not read, that the blockade is technically any boats going into Venezuela. So as usual, Trump gets to kind of have a war and not have a war at the same time.
Yeah.
Now you mix that with calling fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. We could potentially, very seriously, it would not be out of the realm of possibility of Venezuela and other countries around the world considering this an act of war. But perhaps that one little detail where it's a blockade on certain boats might be enough to stave off or at least delay some serious consequences or responses.
And now the whole world, if people had ever wondered or debated, we always talk about how we operate on magic in terms of a cave.
We don't operate on magic.
I'm saying the world. The world operates
spiritual mechanic.
The spiritual mechanic.
Lizard people.
In the case of government and international law and geopolitics, it's on brand for Trump to take the rules on paper and kind of find a way to wiggle through them and do things, get things done, get the objective done without technically breaking any
It's
rules
always
or
been
laws.
his talent. Yeah, his talent.
It's been his
And
thing. So
from the supernatural worldview, we've talked long about how the legal system is really based around this system of magic. Even Harvard admits that legal documents and the way the law is written and even formatted reflects how grimoires were written back in the medieval times. Like this is a pretty obvious thing. And again, Trump being the magnificent chaos magician, I don't say that. Marina Abramovich, Queen Witch, says that. It would stand to reason that it's classically Trump to be able to like operate in that weird occulty space, but find those very specific ways, through his sort of chaos magicianry to do whatever he wants without really anything being able to land. And as much as the system, the other magicians come against him, he always comes out on top against all logic. It's very interesting to watch. Now, this oil thing, we know, because we've been following this and dissecting this for many months now, maybe even up to a year, we know that oil is the thesis or the antithesis. We're talking thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And everybody's talking about the oil, right? Even Trump is kind of putting it out there. Hey, they took our oil. We want the oil back. All the mainstream media, oil. He wants the oil. But we know almost everything about the oil sort of industry is not what we're led to believe. Even down to the idea of like peak oil and even where oil comes from and, all these sorts of things. Oil is like this trigger word that works really well for Americans to kind of, you just say, oh, it's about oil. Oh, why Iraq? Oh, it's about oil.
It's beautiful branding is what it is.
Yeah, it's like throwaway. It's almost like the word racist,
Right.
You call something or someone racist, you're just like, you don't even have to say any more. Like you just throw it out there and what are you going to do? I said what I said and what are you going to argue with me? It's the same thing with oil and geopolitics. Almost everything, at least America does, there's this magic little word that makes it ends the conversation.
Right.
Because if you, for instance, with the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, you say, oh, it's just oil. You go, well, okay. I mean, yeah. Well, what about the tomb of Gilgamesh and Saddam Hussein trying to go off of the petrodollar? And so just saying oil kind of throws away all the other details that could be there. And so we're seeing this oil thing with Venezuela, and surely, America always wants the oil for its corporations. But as we've known since from the very beginning, and this really became clear during the Burning Man research, for those who tuned into the Canary Cry Clubhouse episode, where Sir Ike and I sort of unveiled this crazy series of stories, events, and facts. And every step along the way, we know what this is really about. But what it's really about is a little complicated and not as effective as just saying oil. But the simple way to put it would be minerals. Okay, rare earth minerals, obviously the most important thing in the world, even more than oil. Right? We get 85% of our rare earth minerals from China. That's a whole mess. We can't do any of our minerals ourselves. We have no ability to smelt minerals. We have no sources for minerals. Venezuela has an enormous capacity for these rare earth minerals. And the minerals that popped up to us, just to go down the roadmap for anybody who maybe hasn't been following this, came during the Burning Man research time this year. One thing about Burning Man, at least this year, it happened congruently with Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is, basically the highest Jewish holy day. This is the Day of Atonement, where the ancient Israelites would do two things to atone for the sins of the entire community. One, they would slaughter a flawless lamb, usually a lamb. And that was a sacrifice to God. That was for God. Kill the lamb, the blood cleanses, wipes the hands of the community, and that's for God. The other part of it is the scapegoat. And this is where the word scapegoat comes from. Ceremonially, the Hebrew community would gather up all of their sins. They would strap it to a goat, and then they would let the goat out into the wilderness. And that was, the goat taking the sins of the community and sending it away. And now it's somebody else's problem. Now, when that goat goes out into the wilderness, that wilderness sort of ritualistic name is Azazel. And Azazel refers to lots of things, desolate, dry, sort of wilderness. But of course, those who are familiar with the book of Enoch, or even just the story of the Watchers and whatnot, here is book of Enoch, chapter 8, verse 1, talking about the Watchers. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and coloring tinctures. And then it goes through the rest of the Watchers and how, the Watchers taught them magic and astrology and all that kind of stuff, right? So Azazel, which has this connection to Yom Kippur, which had this connection to Burning Man, only lists one specific ingredient, one specific material. Now, he does say it made them known all the metals of the earth, okay? So you've got all of them, including the rare ones. But it specifically says antimony. And I thought that was weird because it doesn't say antimony and iron and, I don't know what other ones there
Magnesium
are. Magnesium, right.
Sterlium.
It could have included so many, but it only includes one of them, and it's antimony. And antimony is incredibly important for not just technology today, but the technology of the future. When they list antimony, they always say, oh, yeah, it's used for fire retardants, and it's used for, microchips and some defense contracting products. Yeah, some defense contract. It's like all the missiles, all the bullets, everything that explodes requires antimony. So it is this very war-related mineral. And antimony, what got us here in the first place when it comes to the Burning Man, the playa where Burning Man takes place, the desert, very strange, dusty, stingy material that it takes place on, is really rich in antimony. So that was a very strange connection altogether. But it doesn't stop there, because while everybody's freaking out about oil in Venezuela, Sir Ike has been keeping me abreast of just literally the insurmountable amount of antimony that Venezuela has access to. And in fact, it's listed specifically in some articles about the minerals in Venezuela. It'll be like, yes, and Venezuela has lots of important minerals that we need as Americans to rule the world someday, like antimony. And it'll just move on. It's a very strange parallel with how the book of Enoch, chapter 8, lists kind of lots of vague things, but specifically says antimony. So antimony is this weird little clue this year that, I say it on Clubhouse, I say it with a lot of things. Sometimes we have no idea why we get hooked on something, or some weird little detail stands out to us, and it makes no sense at the time, but it inevitably does. Antimony is one of these sort of cases, because not only is Venezuela very rich in antimony, But one of America's problems is even if we had the minerals, we couldn't do anything with it. We can't process it. All of the processing of these minerals, including antimony, happens in China. And we obviously don't want to be so tied to them or rely on them, especially for the minerals that we need to blow them up. And so is just announced just yesterday, actually. It's coming from Reuters. Korea Zinc to build 7.4 billion U.S. minerals refinery with Trump's support. So Trump announces this Tennessee smelting factory, which is definitely the biggest, if not the only one that we have or will have. And I'll just give you the bullet points here because they're kind of interesting. Korea Zinc to sell 1.9 billion shares to U.S.-backed venture. Pentagon to hold 40% stake in the joint venture being the smelting facility. So you have a smelting facility, it's about $8 billion being built. 40% of it is going to be owned by the Pentagon. So we have some very serious moves, specifically around warfare and these minerals that are specifically in Venezuela. And just a very interesting, bizarre thing that also happened yesterday, which I think can give us a signal about maybe why we're going to war, or at least, is just an interesting clue here. From mining.com, was yesterday. Chinese court sentences 27 people for smuggling antimony ingots. A Chinese court imposed jail sentences and fines on Tuesday on 27 people for shipping antimony ingots out of the country without export licenses in a ruling that highlights how China is tightening enforcement of its controls on strategic minerals. China is the world's largest producer of antimony, which is used in batteries, chips, flame retardants, and the defense sector. Beijing added antimony to its export control list in September of 2024, which would have been exactly when Burning Man 2024 was happening. Last month, China said it had suspended a ban on exports of antimony, gallium, germanium to the United States following a meeting between President Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. But the metals remain subject to broader export controls, requiring shippers to first obtain licenses from Beijing. So antimony is a very precise topic of conversation for Trump and Xi when they meet together to speak and try to keep the world economy moving. But we might not actually need Chinese antimony anymore, because if we go to war, as Azazel taught us, human beings, go to war with Venezuela, just call it oil. People stop asking questions. We'll have our own source of antimony to build all the blowy uppy things, and we'll have our smelting facility, the refinery, owned at least 40% by specifically the United States military. So it's very possible that we'll have some sort of announcement like this from Trump tonight, because that would match the intensity of people's little bird syndrome.
Yeah, I was trying to verify any public kind of discourse or information on antimony in Venezuela, because you had stated how they're one of the largest producers of antimony.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of information says that they're not. Like, there's one area in Venezuela that does produce it, but there's not, out of like almost 600 mining places in Venezuela, there's only one, at least publicly, that actually mines antimony. And maybe that's the case. Maybe
we brought the Venezuela mining report. We actually, it's like one of those reports that you actually have to like purchase, but I think we got our hands on it. So
yeah, I was looking at a
we've
few things.
showed this on the show
before.
Well, I mean, I can give you the link now. It's a whole report. We've actually gone through the whole report on the show, but oopsies, go back.
Is it this one called Antimony in Venezuela?
Could be.
Biographical references of antimony deposits.
Yeah, and it tracks the antimony deposits at the Uruguay.
Uruguay. This is like that's the location that is
which
known.
happens to be directly off of the concentration of the ships parked outside Venezuela right now. If you look at a map of where,
there it is.
Again, we showed the map of the military assets, the naval assets off the coast of Venezuela. And this specific antimony, rich in antimony mining site is they're just basically parked in the handicap spot of this area.
So they maybe they're not large producers, but maybe they are one of the main producers.
Well, China's the main producer.
I know China's the biggest producer.
We can't take control of China and take their
yes, and
we
it
have
looks like
to find our own antimony.
Right, the biggest producers around the world are all over there. They're China, it's Turkey, it's some of those nations. So it would make sense to try to find something closer to home. And so
this one
they
works.
found the closest one. They're like, hey, Venezuela, get over here real quick. Let's what you got? Let's shake your pockets. Let's flip you upside down. Let's shake your pockets. Get all that into.
Got everything. It shows you've got this weapon of mass destruction. You've got fentanyl. We got to come in. We got to bring you some freedom. Now, on the other hand, there is a lot of high-level support for Trump's moves in Venezuela, specifically from Venezuelan academics and the recent Venezuelan Nobel Prize winner, who there's this whole big story. They were giving the Nobel Prize to this Venezuelan activist academic person, but she had to flee Venezuela because they hate her and they want to get her. And there's this whole story about like a black ops team extracting her from Venezuela so the government doesn't kill her. And then they're having the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony and she wasn't there. So her daughter received the prize for her. And then immediately after the ceremony, the daughter goes and meets her. She had been exfiltrated to Oslo, Norway, where she got the prize from her daughter and then made this big speech about how Trump's saving the Venezuelan people and the Venezuelan people want him to come take over. It's this whole crazy thing. It's been kind of happening in the background, but if the Nobel Peace Prize winner in Oslo during the prize ceremony time comes out and said, sorry, I couldn't go take the prize. I was being exfiltrated by U.S. black ops from Venezuela because my government wants to kill me. God bless you, Trump. Please go take over Venezuela. The people want you to. You've got a pretty extraordinary sort of international narrative, but all pointing to the fact that we're probably going to take over Venezuela. If Maduro doesn't hand it over, willingly, you could very easily see some serious moves.
It makes sense. It also makes sense in the geographical or proximity of the West versus East World War concept, where it's like, hey, China has this stuff. And by the way, I looked it up. China shut out the trading of these minerals, not just antimony, but also germanium and gallium, both important for tech. They blocked it out a year ago. It was December 2024 when Washington, or Beijing specifically, blocked the export of these things, which brought us a year, today with that story about people getting charged court sentences for smuggling out antimony ingots. So it makes sense that Trump is going, hey, we're out here. Like, you want to be part of the golden age. Like you want to be a part of the Western rise of, self-reliance technologically. We don't need China and their antimony, but you got to cooperate with us. And, Venezuela say no, and then sending, so there you go. You got all the legal things with the weapons of mass destruction. You got the boats, you got the blockade, you got everything ready.
Baby. We're doing it.
And this makes bringing it back to the beginning of this whole thing, this makes sense. The best is yet to come, Basil. We're going to unite the West. We are going to rise. We get our own antimony deposits to tap into for microchips, and we're going to advance and win. We're going to beat G. We have to beat G. G's going to beat us. The AI race, the quantum race, which, by the way, the quantum race also interesting developments in that area as well. We'll cover that in a few minutes here.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else here? Because I think you're right. Hopefully, my hope is that we don't have some kind of actual kinetic situation, that this whole thing with Venezuela is resolved, where it's like, hey, look, guys, you guys are providing the antimony. You guys are going to get, it's going to be good. Okay. It's going to be good for Venezuela as a whole. So, let's put aside our differences and build some bridges and whatever, and we can all celebrate. It's almost like they're trying to front run the whole Taiwan situation as well, because that's coming up.
Yeah. So, in the sort of the last part of it that wraps it up is we have been in a wartime economy for 80 years.
Yeah.
We all look around. Trump says the economy's great. He even said it in his announcement this morning. And everybody's kind of starting, even the most Trump supporting people are starting to look around and be like, okay, buddy. All right. Okay. We're trusting you. We'll see what happens. But you got to stop saying it's great, because it's not that great, at least on the ground.
It's great for the Trumps. You know how much money they've made? The Trump family has made this year. Oh my goodness!
If you're of a certain level, even if you're middle class and you've got a nice big 401k, or you're an investor or something, you're probably feeling okay for the year. By those numbers, graph go up. But obviously, boots on the ground, it doesn't feel so much. And we're coming up on. I mean, I don't want to go down a whole nother rabbit trail, but we're looking at a pretty dire situation when it comes to the value of the dollar, when it comes to the Fed. We're going to get a new Fed chair in March of next year. Our current Fed chair announced that actually just started this month, the quantitative easing. So
did they officially start easing, or did they just end tightening? Because I believe could be a period of lull.
I believe they're pumping 40 billion a month. That's the word. That's the word on the street. Is in December they started quantitative easing, pumping 40 billion a month of liquidity, and they're gonna do.
Easy, huh?
I mean, people called it easing. That's printing. If they're pumping 40 bill into the cash supply every month, that's expanding the balance sheet, is what the Fed would say.
Yeah.
So, the dollar's going to keep going in the same direction. And, we know this. We've talked about this. With the debt and the system, we are coming up on an entire new economic system. And it's really hard to tell what to do about it. Most of us can't do anything about it. But we've talked about the stable coins and the new version of fractional reserve banking, the tripling of the money through banks being able to start their own stable coins, et cetera, et cetera. We are on the edge of just something entirely unrecognizable as far as the financial sector goes, and we're down to months right now. So now you have the Fed pumping liquidity into the market, which is going to keep decreasing the value of the dollar. We've got a new Fed chair coming in March, I believe. It may be May. I get May and March mixed up a lot. And of course, we are on the eve of war, because we need a war. We are a wartime economy.
War is profitable for America.
The economy doesn't work.
We need war
without war. And so, you could see at the very least some sort of military operation in Venezuela could give us a little bit of a boost just to keep the economy going for a few more months while they pump liquidity into the market. And then, boom, he gets his crypto guy as the head of the Fed, and that's when it starts. That's
pump it. Pump it. By the way, I just as you brought up the economic system here. I did publish a series of 7 videos back in 2019. It was called Israel's Mystery. And it was the first one was titled The FinTech Deal You Didn't Hear About. And basically, it's Andrew Cuomo making a deal with the supervisor of banks at the Bank of Israel and a few other high-level institutions for the development of fintech. And part of the deal was that they would enable information sharing between the state of New York and these banks, these financial institutions in Israel. So that was 2019. What are we, 6 years, almost 7 years since then? And here we are. We got a whole new economic system happening, Basil. It's coming around the corner. We're all going to be stabled out, and we're all going to be crypto bros and sisters. How about
What
that?
did Trump say? He said himself, he's like, oh, you're going to love it. We're going to equalize the playing field. Everybody's going to be very happy.
Everyone's
So
going
it
to be
sounds like a pretty
happy.
serious,
Yeah. Which
transition.
he better fix something, because crypto bros are not happy with Trump right now. He comes in,
Who
Bitcoin
cares
was
about the crypto?
lower than the price that we came in on. Everybody bought the
It's
Trump
good.
token, and then he dumped on the whole world.
Be greedy when there's fear. Be fearful when there's greed. The
I
red numbers
know.
are good. To the true
Yes,
crypto
flip it
bros.
around. Yeah, the
red
true
numbers.
crypto bros know. Now is the time to buy. Lowest sentiment ever. Okay,
All right.
so
keep an eye out.
speaking of-
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Let's change the world, Trump. Let's see how it goes, buddy. You got
Change
this.
the world.
Money printer go burr.
Brr, 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 brr. Speaking of which, all this change happening.
Oh, yeah. This is great. Just real quick. I mean, this is just a real quick one. We've had some enormous issues with the storms and the fires the past couple years. One thing a lot of people are noticing, if you're on the West Coast, basically California, the insurance companies just pulled out. You just can't get fire insurance. Fire insurance doesn't exist in California. Flood insurance is also difficult on the West Coast. And this has been, really high profile issue because of all the weird fires going on in the Palisades and LA, et cetera, et cetera. But this came across the desk, which is just a beautiful sign of the dystopian, the dystopia that we've been, kind of tracking for a long time. And it actually reminded me of something you said a while back. The headline is "The prediction markets are coming for risk markets and insurance." Woohoo! Big fancy headline. Who even knows what that means? Prediction markets signal new era for insurance risk transfer. Prediction markets like Kalshi, Polymarket, and Predictit have already upended the sports betting and election forecasting landscape. Now they're setting their sights on insurance, reinsurance, and physical risk hedging industries have been the exclusive playground of institutions. Susquehanna International Group's Jeff Yass spelled out the concept in Forbes this week, saying, quote, "Prediction markets can allow parties to more efficiently share risk on a parametric basis. Hurricane risk for Florida homeowners is an example." Another example of you can't get hurricane insurance in Florida anymore.
Yeah.
Rather than buying annual insurance policies, homeowners could hedge potential property damage risk as hurricanes approach by purchasing a yes contract that winds will exceed a specific speed in their town, informed by up-to-the-minute meteorological data.
Oh, we're so done, Basil. We are so done as a society. It's over, buddy.
Insurance is over. And for those who need this in plain language, what they're saying is, oh, you're in Florida and nobody will sell you hurricane insurance because that's a money loser. Well, here's what you do instead. Instead of getting an insurance policy, when the storm starts a brewing, head over to Polymarket and put
money where your mouth is, sir. You think it's going to destroy your home? Let's put money where your mouth is.
How much
put
do
a
you
bet
think,
in? How much
do you think it's going to like? That's the thing. I mean, we've seen these prediction markets become an insane. I mean, Elon wanted X to become sort of the human hive mind, but really it's the prediction markets that have become the human hive mind.
I'm telling you, they're breeding oracles too.
Yeah,
like,
through the
imagine somebody who has
election,
a high hit rate on these things.
And for those who don't know, it's, you make bets on what they call event contracts. It's technically not a bet, okay? It's not gambling, okay? It's a financial instrument. And the financial instrument is, I will buy a share of yes that a hurricane will destroy my house, or something like that. So instead of having an insurance policy, the storm starts brewing, you take, scrape together your pennies, put 10 grand down on there's going to be a hurricane today. The hurricane comes through, destroys your house. Yay!
Boom! The contract goes through without any intermediary, so no middleman to finagle anything. Maybe some platform fees or something, but then boom, you get your cash.
And
unlocked. It's in your wallet. The money's in your wallet.
In a way, that is what insurance is. You don't place an individual bet at a certain amount of time, but having an insurance policy is saying, like, yeah, the risk is high enough that
give us money,
worth it to me to pay $1,000 a month or whatever it would be for, if you think it's 0% there's going to be a hurricane, you don't get the insurance. But depending on how sure you are a hurricane could happen, you're basically betting that it's going to happen. And if it happens, then you get the money. If it doesn't happen, you don't get the money. It's basically a bet already.
It is a bet, and it's actually front loaded too. So you're actually paying certain premiums up front, depending on your policy. But you're paying the money first up front, so they're making all the money. And like you said, you can, and that's why I think so many people dislike insurance, the industry as a whole, is because they have to sell you fear. They have to sell you uncertainty. And all you're doing is buying some comfort in your mind, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But give us a few $1,000 a month or $1,000, whatever, however much a year, and you'll have your peace of mind that if something happens, we'll have to assess it. We're going to look at the claims and all that, but then they'll decide whether you can get the money that you have been.
And then they often won't give you the money.
They often won't, right? They'll find reasons. There's little loopholes, whatever it may be. So I mean, in theory, relying on prediction markets to facilitate insurance or this type of protection is better, because you're not going to have your middleman.
But it is
I would say better, but I mean, it's a little more straightforward.
It's
without a scammer in the middle.
Similar.
It's
dystopianly, people are realizing, like, having hurricane insurance is, I might as well, even if I take the $1,000 a month, set it aside, so when the next hurricane comes, I have 10 grand.
You got liquid.
And I put that 10 grand on, yes, there's going to be a hurricane, and then you win some money back, and booyah, you pay for your new windows.
Yeah, or whoever's doubting you, it just rakes in everything, completely takes it out, because these are pretty much live updates, live metrics, right? Like it connects to a weather station and all that.
Yeah, they actually said this here. It's pretty interesting. Weather prediction markets operate on a granular parametric triggers that mirror what insurers have long sought: objective, tamper-proof settlement mechanisms based on measurable weather events, daily high temperatures, monthly tornado count. You can bet on all this stuff. Daily high temperatures, monthly tornado counts, hurricane wind speeds, and the seasonal climate indices all trade with NOAA data as the final arbiter, which is interesting because Trump kind of messed with NOAA, some executive orders. This creates unprecedented transparency in catastrophe risk pricing. Real-time price discovery. Markets continuously reflect collective wisdom about weather probabilities, unlike annual insurance renewals. Institutional adoption. Insurance companies and financial firms are exploring these platforms as alternatives to traditional reinsurance structures.
Yeah.
The implications are profound, where insurers traditionally relied on catastrophe models and broker negotiations. Prediction markets offer instant liquid pricing for weather-related exposures. It's crazy. This is the most these prediction markets, you said it before. I mean, we've talked about how dystopian it is, but at the same time, it's in a way once we're all on UBI and the AI and the robots take over everything and there's no jobs and you get your UBI to just subsist and survive on, and there's you can't do anything to get more money. You're just stuck in the sort of socialist hellhole. The only thing that you can do is either maybe bet on crypto or get crypto or something, or head to Polymarket and spend your whole day making bets, and not even just recreationally or even for income. In this case, it's your insurance policy.
Insurance, your protection, your property, the protection of your property, physically and financially. But the interesting thing about all of this is that it creates a atmosphere or a climate, and I don't mean like the weather climate, but sort of a social climate, to manufacture sort of a messianic group or individual, you can call them oracles, whatever, where they're so good with the prediction markets, they're so good at seeing the future that they'll be hailed as some kind of deity, and they can manufacture it because if you got the world controllers, Basil, the people that are maybe not the people, the principalities and powers that are running the show.
We are a global production company.
If they are able to control the weather with HARP or whatever it may be, or control sentiment or whatnot, or the outcome of certain events, they can get these people to go out there, be in the prediction markets, make a big bet, and maybe make a big counter bet at some point to really skyrocket the popularity of some individual. But then you can finagle the outcome from the back end there, and you can establish or king make certain individuals to become these sort of oracles or prediction market stars. And then you're starting to get into, again, worship, messianic. And plus, if people are getting wealthy off of it, it'll be very man of sin-ish,
Sure.
They're stopping wars. He's creating a sort of peace. There's you got to follow his thing, otherwise you can't really buy or sell. Got to follow his calls, whatnot. So I mean, I don't know, it's just one of these ideas that are out there, but
sure. Got a beautiful
it seems to be heading in that direction. And maybe there's a reason why the New World Order Fantasy League that we had joked about, and then we're also kind of serious about, never really took off, was because it's like, no, that would be directly participating in developing the actual beast system. So you guys just chill out, make some cool t-shirts and whatnot with it, but maybe not actually do it when it comes to betting and stuff. Because you can bet, you go to Polymarket right now and find bets on all kinds of stuff. Let's look at what's trending here.
No, we actually need to keep moving. We only have an hour left.
Let's do it. Okay, all right. Let's keep moving here. All right, so let's move on to, what are we doing? Oh, we're doing the
MIT guy.
MIT guy. Okay, so that is, oh, come on. Jingle board, trying to pull up. Jingle.
It will kill.
Yes, there we go. It will kill. It will kill. We have a story here coming from the New York Post. MIT nuclear science professor Nuno Loureiro found shot in home in Swanky, Mass neighborhood. That's Massachusetts. A prominent nuclear science professor at MIT was shot and killed inside his home in a Swanky, Massachusetts neighborhood Monday night, with police mum on details of the tragic slaying. Nuno Loureiro, 47, was found inside the Brookline house by police responding to reports of a man shot around 8:30 p.m., the Norfolk District Attorney's Office announced on Facebook. Loureiro was rushed to
Loureiro, you're adding a couple.
Loureiro was rushed to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead Tuesday morning. Let's see. He's got prominent MIT nuclear scientist. Quote, "This is an active and ongoing homicide investigation," the DA said. "No further information is being released at this time." So there's not a whole lot out there. Brookline Police Deputy Superintendent Paul Campbell told WBZ TV News that the victim, quote, "had been shot multiple times, but would not release further details." The death follows a mass shooting at Brown University just 50 miles away in which students were killed. The suspect is still on the loose. Is the suspect for the Brown or the suspect for this?
Well, this is
both.
This is the crazy part, right? I mean, we're not going to bring it to the show today, but I'm continuing to follow the Brown thing, and it is absolutely crazy. It definitely looks like they're, hiding some details or trying to not put anything out there, because look, people have found someone at the school who really looks like the person on the camera, at least, body shape. And of course, they're sort of a Free Palestine type. And of course, the classroom, we didn't know what was happening in the classroom at Brown, and that was very strange. Well, it turns out it was a study group for an exam, the professor of which, taught in Israel and was currently focusing on the intersection between economics and Judaic studies, and this whole thing, of course, there's nothing, not making any connections there. Other people are making these connections, and just 50 miles away. It's been 3 to 5 days since the Brown thing happened, and they're still not releasing any information, if they even have a suspect. I mean, the suspect would either be out of the country and long gone, or 50 miles away, finds a different sort of academic that they feel like they need to do something about. It's very strange, but
the
pretty much
FBI special.
Everything your gut told you about the Brown shooting, it's just hold judgment, because as usual, if we are going on, we should see if there's poly market or anything on the Brown shooting, but it remains to be seen if it's going to break any expectations.
So the FBI special agent in charge, Ted Dox, was asked about whether or not the Brown shooter and this event here with the MIT professor had any relation. And he said, quote, "At this time, there seems to be no connection as it related to that particular incident," referring to the Brown incident there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I went to the nuclear science and engineering website at MIT.edu, and there's a whole bio on Nuno F. Loureiro. What is it? Loureiro. I think it's the I that's messing me up. Loureiro. And there's a bio, and under the research section, it says here, Professor Loureiro, his group used a combination of analytical theory and state-of-the-art simulations to investigate several topics in nonlinear plasma dynamics, particularly magnetic reconnection, turbulence, and instabilities. He also had an active interest in novel computational techniques for plasma simulation, including machine learning and quantum computing. So we have the story about the understory, the meta narrative with the Venezuela situation, with antimony being a critical component of a resource for computing, modern computing. And then we have all the shootings and everything going on. And this one of the professors being shot here and killed happens to be somebody doing plasma simulations, quantum computing, perhaps the future of computing in this country and the world.
Well,
Why would they want to take him out?
There's also a connection too with the plasma dynamics and like what Ashton Forbes talks about with the MH370 spheres.
Right.
Lots of
Yes.
plasma dynamics there. So just kind of a weird connection. And also people tracked down a clip of a presentation that he made. The clip is 5 minutes long, so we're not going to play it. But it talks about, quantum computing, plasma dynamics. And apparently he also had a lot to say regarding the Earth's magnetic field and how it resets every 6,000 years, and how the last time it's set was around the time of Noah, and the whole space weather phenomenon going on right now where the magnetic poles are moving around more than they should be. Our magnetic shield is not as strong as it should be, and a lot of people are expecting that the magnetic poles of the Earth could reverse. He also had a lot to say about that. I mean, his work is connected to a lot of, let's say, really popular topics.
Yeah. Why would they want to take this man out? Or why? Yeah. I mean, 47 years old. He's young. He's MIT, obviously. MIT already has some interesting lore built up for our generation, Basil. You got the professor at MIT. His name was, I believe it was Fred Trump. It was Donald Trump's uncle. He was a professor of mathematics at MIT for years, was handed the Tesla papers as soon as Nikola Tesla passed away, and the intelligence ops got a hold of it. They didn't know what was going on. They handed it to Dr. or Professor Trump to try to analyze. So there's that weird connection there. And then, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a show, Basil. It's like the whole thing is staged.
We are a global production company.
I don't know. And creating a martyr out of someone. I mean, I guess within the conspiracy world, perhaps we'll see how it all unfolds, I guess. But as people do their research, how do you get a guy who's just a kind of a professor at MIT? I guess he's talking about quantum engineering and fusion and plasma and simulations and all this kind of stuff. But who isn't these days? Everyone's talking about that stuff. How do you get someone's research to, distribute quickly? I think this type of event can cause the internet sleuths to go down the rabbit trails and see what they can find.
You think it's kind of opposite? Not that somebody took him out because they didn't want his work to get out, or they didn't want him to
if at this point in the 5th generation war, I'm just throwing out possibilities. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the logical thing would be, he had something, we got to stop him. But given sort of the way things have unfolded with any type of public event that involves violence in this way, I wonder if there is something more to it, because like you said, I mean, they found the footage here of this random, I don't know, looks like a Zoom call or something with some other people. I don't know what it was about, or if it's a podcast or something, but
academic presentation.
Okay, yeah. So he's been out there doing stuff. So, but I'm assuming he wasn't ultra popular before this. Maybe he was. I don't know. In the world of conspiracy creation,
the fact that the mainstream media is reporting it. You wonder, why would they? That's interesting. I mean, lots of people die all the time. They don't report on it. Lots of scientists die. It's very rarely, headline news. The fact that they were able to tie it to Brown University, I think, is maybe one of the reasons why it made it to New York Post. That's possible. And maybe it was. I don't know. There's certainly some strange things going on over there in Massachusetts.
Yeah. A home of all kinds of strangeness. So there you go. I mean, we'll keep track of it and see if anything else pops up regarding the situation. But we'll keep it posted on that. Let's see real quick. We got a couple more Trump things here, and actually it's sort of I think it'll wrap up some of the conversations here. Of course, Trump is always looking to launch a new age.
We will launch a new age.
And Trump was at the Hanukkah event? Was it yesterday?
Yeah, X is exploding with the clips of the Hanukkah celebration at the White House.
Yes, and here's Mark Levin with Trump.
6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, "This is our first Jewish president." It's true. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
Yeah, rigged. So there you go. He was, I mean, I guess we're right. He's the first Jewish president twice over.
We're right. Is this what you is? Did you make this call that he's the first Jewish president?
We didn't make the call, but we pointed out how even back then when Mark Levin discussed this, that this was interesting in the context of the Antichrist or the man of sin presenting himself as some kind of Jewish Messiah, and how strange it was for Mark Levin to refer to him as the first Jewish president. I don't think genetically speaking that's what he's talking about, right? He's sort of doing it in a allegorical sense, is what they're just because of his.
He's been grafted in.
Grafted in. There you go. It's a great way to say it. So yeah, very interesting. And this is undergirding all of the quote unquote violence going on around the world with obviously the Brown shooting seemingly having some ties to this, and obviously the Bondi Beach massacre over the weekend, and the response from the Jewish community or the modern, I don't know, I guess it's these political action groups that are that have been around. There's clips going all over X highlighting some of the things they say, and I want to bring this just because I think it's a good exercise of parsing out what's important and what's not, because right now is very, very challenging to discuss the topic of Israel, Zionism, and all these things. There is an overlap of discussions coming from eschatology, from geopolitics, from contemporary issues, whether it's with Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk and TPUSA and their connections to Israel geopolitically, blah, blah, blah. So there's all these different layers to this topic of Israel and Jews and Zionism. And it's hard to have a substantive discussion about it because people get triggered. And look, I'm guilty. I'm just as guilty getting triggered with all kinds of stuff on my timeline. But this I thought was important enough to share, not because not to point out that this is just like, hey, this group is evil or bad or something like that, but more so putting aside the individual labels and categories that we like to use against each other and with each other to justify arguments or justify tensions or whatever it may be, and take a look at the grander picture of what's going on. So this is a clip, the longer clip that I broke into 3 pieces, where the Stop Anti-Semitism founder comes out and says some things. And so here's the first clip that people had a problem with. Here we go.
From our founding, Stop Anti-Semitism has operated on one guiding belief: anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. We created visibility. We turned the spotlight towards those who targeted on our community, making silence impossible. On campuses where Jewish students were hunted through libraries, where professors glorified Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, where mobs shut down our buildings and administrators hid under desks, we stepped in. We documented the offenders. We worked with attorneys, lawmakers, and victim families, and we ensured the message was not mistakable. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything. Our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO.
So what she says there, this is the part that people are highlighting, that, oh, if you ever make an offense that is labeled anti-Semitic, it will follow you for the rest of your life. Thank you, Google and SEO. Your name will be attached to basically a human hate crime, whatever, this horrendous act of anti-Semitism for the rest of your life. And this organization is going to make sure of it. So here's the thing. Of course, don't go out there and harass people that are Jewish, or, get to the point where they're hiding under desks or whatever, all her examples there. I'm not condoning any violence or condoning anything against Jewish people. That's not the point. At least on this show, we've been walking on that nuanced line for a long time, but set that aside, because that's it's almost as if the actual victims are being used as a scapegoat is too hard of a word, a crutch almost, for these other elements that are actually intrusive, where it's like, hey, forget canceling, this is like reputation destroying, not of celebrities, but just people that may have gotten into a quarrel with somebody, and maybe there was name calling, maybe whatever. Human beings, we are in this fallen world. We get into arguments all the time for many different reasons. And it's not always because they're this or they're that. Oh, there's a Jewish person over there, let me go fight him. It's not always like that. It's usually some kind of personal or situational thing that happens. And then as the situation degrades into name calling or a physical altercation, names get called, whatever. And that's usually when the authorities or somebody will step in and document, oh, you called this person a Nazi, you called this person a Jew, whatever it may be. So those things happen. But for an institution or organization to make threats and say, hey, once you make an offense, it will follow you for the rest of your life. When you're looking for a nanny, when you're looking for a spouse, they're going to Google your name and your name is going to pop up as an anti-Semite. It's a very, I don't know, it feels very overreach. And I don't know, a little harsh, but maybe that's what some people want, Basil. I don't know. What do you think about that first part?
It reflects some really old, maybe not really old, but that's like that's kind of gone now. Like what she's talking about, if you're an anti-Semite, we shine a light on you. Like that's like some 2020 stuff. Like we're kind of in a new age where that
Right,
that's not as, especially for younger people. This is what we're talking about with Nick Fuentes and stuff. His Pierce Morgan interview, he gets on all these big shows and they try to tear him down. They try to gotcha him. And these Gen Zs, man, the nihilism is so strong that for him, he doesn't really give an inch. He just says, this is what I think. This is how I feel. Well, yeah. Pierce Morgan is like, oh my goodness. Oh, how could you say this? Because that sort of public shaming is an artifact of a recently past time where that would totally destroy somebody. That would totally, shut them up forever type of thing. I feel like a little bit of that has backfired. It's interesting. She's kind of bragging about something that I think is inevitably backfiring a little bit on them, because what they do is they basically dox people. They'll find someone who made an offense. They'll write up a profile on them and give them a page on their website. That's why she kept saying Google and SEO, because they have search engine optimization experts who will make a profile on Nick Fuentes, or it could just be some normal person on Facebook, and do all the technical jargon to make sure that when that name is ever searched, that the first thing comes up is that they're an anti-Semite. That's kind of their thing that they do. Well, the world is totally different. And shining a light, for instance, on Nick Fuentes has only given him made him more popular. And it's, emboldening people like, oh, they're sort of inadvertently, or maybe maybe they weren't. I don't know. But they're
you got to create the enemy, like we talked about last episode. You got to create you got to find people that fit the avatar of the perceived enemy. So
the point is they're inadvertently widening the Overton window as they shine that conversation or that the stuff people say into a broader audience. Then even just cognitively, even subtly or subconsciously, it opens the Overton window to say, oh, we can talk about this now. Lots of people are talking about it. Let's talk about it. And, the hope would be that, hey, let's talk about it ends in their favor. I'm assuming that's their strategy. But the way things are going, it's not always working out that way. But it does come off as sort of a weird threat. It's
a weird
got a bad vibe to it. It's this weird, threatening kind of vibe that I don't think people are going to respond to in the way that they want them to.
Here's a little more.
In corporations where DEI leaders smeared Israel, excused Hamas, we pressured CEOs. Some resigned, many were terminated, but policies were changed, thankfully, from governmental to art institutions. Online, where anonymous accounts spread violent threats, we traced patterns, elevated evidence, and worked with authorities, leading to arrests from Florida, South Carolina, New York, California, and Texas. And we're not slowing down, sadly. Today, Stop Anti-Semitism, I'm proud to say, runs one of the most robust anti-Semitic enforcement operations in the United States, monitoring campuses, digital networks, activist groups, and public officials, documenting incidents in real time and mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Yeah,
I didn't realize they're watching everything, Basil. They have a finger on the pulse on all the things.
Cool
and the
vibe.
part that
Cool vibe.
cool vibe, I know, great vibe. The part at the end I thought was interesting too. Let me play that last few seconds.
Networks, activist groups, and public officials, documenting incidents in real time and mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side.
Mobilizing people that are quietly our allies.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, there was some
Mobilize.
stories a couple years ago that, and I don't know if it's the same lady, but it was the same organization. They were kind of bragging that they have like a big email list, and people kind of sign up to join the army, sort of, where if they target someone, they find someone, they want to go after someone, then they email their email list and say like, hey, everybody call this guy's work, or everybody post about how horrible this guy is. It's kind of a I don't know. It's, again, just weird vibes, man. I don't know.
It's
Kind of a
employing
weird thing to do.
like tapping into the internet hive mind for your own purposes. It's like
Right.
harnessing the hive mind type of situation. I got one more here. Just look out for cues that this was actually written by AI, like some of her talking points written by AI, but also, just a little bit more of the same here.
I'm not getting anything.
Did I lose it? Am I on the wrong thing? Here, let's try this again.
But the fight is bigger than the exposure, and it's about
Are you getting it now?
Yeah.
securing a future where Jewish students can walk across a quad without being screamed at, a future where employers understand that anti-Semitism is not activism, it's bigotry, and it will cause you to lose your job. A future where fact, not propaganda, shapes policy. A future where global institutions, from Google to Chat GPT, from governments to universities to media, finally treats Jew hatred with the serious of other minority targeted hate. To get there, we need three things: action, real action, as I listed, accountability, relentless vigilance, because anti-Semitism does not take breaks. It doesn't wait for elections. It doesn't disappear because we are exhausted and tired. And when I tell you myself and my team are exhausted and tired, that's the least of it. Stop Anti-Semitism has never been more essential, more strategic, or more effective than it is now. But we cannot do this alone. The demand, the volume of tips, the number of investigations, sadly, it continues to grow instead of decrease. If we want a safer future for the Jewish people, this is the moment to stand together and act. We have to push harder to make it clear that Jewish safety is a non-negotiable. Tonight, I'm asking you to always be in the fight with us, not just in spirit, but in true action. Participate in calls to action. Write letters to your governmental officials. Speak to the teachers and the college administrators that are making, if it's not your friends and kids, it's making other community members feel unsafe. When we act, lives change. And anti-Semites learn, sometimes for the very first time in their lives and history, that targeting Jews will come at a price. And together we can ensure that Jew hatred never goes unanswered again.
Woo.
There you
So
go.
are we trusting God to protect the chosen, or are we relying on groups like this? Or I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore.
They are the hand of God, Gons.
Oh, okay.
They're
So
doing the Lord's work.
Okay, so I just give my money to them, and they will take care of the situation. They'll
Yeah,
handle
you
it.
don't even need to bother. They're going to take
Okay,
care of it no matter what.
Fantastic.
Interesting update about the MIT professor. This is from J Post, the Jerusalem Post.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
Israeli officials are examining intelligence from recent days that suggests an Iranian connection to the murder of Professor Nuno Loureiro, a senior nuclear scientist at MIT who was shot dead in his home in Brookline, Massachusetts on Monday evening. You know, it's interesting because the first place my mind went when I read this story was the Iranian nuclear scientists that the West has taken out over the past couple of years, this sort of cycle of assassinating their nuclear scientists in Iran. I don't know if that just, I guess he's a nuclear scientist, so that's just what came to my mind. But Israeli officials are examining intelligence from recent days that suggests an Iranian connection to the murder of Professor Nuno Loureiro, a senior nuclear scientist at MIT who was shot dead in his home in Brookline, Massachusetts on Monday evening. This is an assessment that has not yet been verified and is not supported at this stage by official findings from the investigative authorities in the United States.
Oh, Jerusalem Post. Leaking all over the place, man. You can't be leaking all this information before it's supposed to come out of the official lips of the U.S. government.
Nice solid disclaimer there by the J Post. Professor Loureiro, who had previously spoken out in favor of Israel, was a 47-year-old Portuguese-born, world-renowned plasma and nuclear fusion scientist. So they're trying to link this guy as speaking
here we go.
for
The
Israel, which
Israeli-
would have a weird connection. I guess they're at least trying to like reveal or craft some sort of connection between the Brown University shooting and this guy through the sort of pro-Israel thing.
Maybe. I don't know. It says here the Israeli investigation,
doing, obviously.
Is being conducted against the backdrop of Loureiro's sensitive field of research. He was considered one of the world's leading researchers. However, informed sources have emphasized that at this stage, there's no unequivocal determination or evidence linking the murder to a state or intelligence operation.
Who needs it? Unequivocal determination or evidence? Hey, this is the internet, man.
The
You don't need
univer-
evidence. Candace would never say you need
it's the
determination.
CO's not grounding any of her statements in any kind of evidence, so why not? And the U.S. authorities are maintaining ambiguity. According to official statements, all avenues of investigation, criminal and otherwise, are being examined, and evidence is being collected from the shooting scene and the immediate vicinity. Which, by the way, reminds me, did you see the footage of the people doing the
search in Brown University?
Search, yeah.
That whole thing is so weird, man. They're just like putting on a play. They're putting on a play.
What is up with that?
Endless things. There's reporters asking questions, and the mayor and the police chief and everybody is just so they get really upset when you ask them questions. They just like explain. It is some sort of absolutely bizarre thing. Even just the investigation and the I mean, I get it. It's kind of a weird situation because for the first time in something like this, the shooter is not like immediately caught or identified. We're waiting for what we're waiting for is like a Luigi Mangione moment And that's what I think feels really weird, because I don't know. I'm convinced that Luigi didn't actually do it. He's just taking the fall, because
look at you falling.
is-
You're gonna send Luigi letters in jail. Be like,
Dude,
Basil, be
yeah,
ready
he
for
just
you. when you
happened to
come out
have the murder weapon and a manifesto while he was buying a
at McDonald's
burger at McDonald's, and the cashier recognized him because of those security
bold
camera
eyes.
footage, which had a different guy in each one. It's feeling very much like that. They're gonna catch this shooter while they're like, I don't know, going through the drive-through at I don't know, some drive-through.
Hey, you got chickens.
No, they're going to be at Dave and Buster's. They're going to be
Next time. All right,
Dave and Buster's. Dave and Buster's, and they're going to be, winning tickets and getting prizes and having a good time. And that's when somebody, Dave and Buster's waitress, is going to call him in because of his, body shape on the big
I think this is going to start turning into man on the loose. On behalf of like Islamic terror in America, so specifically targeting Jewish people. It seems like the direction it's going.
That's obviously the narrative that at least the narrative they're trying to craft here is that this is another example of a sort of Islamist campaign to take out all sorts of Jewish people, whether it be at a mass situation or targeted academics.
Right. So I have the footage here real quick. This is Fox News with the footage of FBI agents walking around in the snow. And I brought up chickens because they kind of look like chickens in this footage. They have the FBI jackets on. They're behind the yellow tape. This is what you're talking about, right, Basil? The footage that you saw?
Yeah. They're obviously just like faking a search.
So they're walking around kicking the snow on a little hill. I don't know why.
I mean, it's good imagery. You've got 3 people in blue, like FBI jackets or something, or police jackets. They're all wearing various shades of khaki pants, and they're all wearing like tennis shoes, and they're in the snow, just kind of methodically kicking the snow around.
For those of us just show, let me see right over here. There's that team as well. They're doing the exact same thing across the street.
I mean, there's photographers and reporters and probably random podcasters in the street there, like getting footage of the whole thing. This is like
12. There's 12 guys just standing on a lawn kicking snow around. You know what they're really waiting for? It's going to be like 9/11. The shooter is going to have left his passport.
Oh, they're going to leave the passport. We're waiting for the guy to find the wallet.
Yeah. Right.
Or maybe it's not, that's 2000. We need like he dropped his Pokemon card or something, or like or his cell phone. People aren't going to run around dropping their cell phones necessarily, their smartphones.
I mean, they said that they're looking here because some of the surveillance footage saw him walking down this street. Now, of course, all the footage that they release is nothing. It's useless. It's Bigfoot footage. They've also kind of hinted that they're not releasing some useful footage, which I get it. If the guy's out there and he's watching TV and he's obsessively like watching the cops search around, maybe putting on this weird, pitiful display as like a way to lull the shooter into some sort of confidence or something. Or they have footage of him taking out his passport, holding it up to the camera next to his face, and then he turns around and whips his passport into the snow, and that's what they're looking for.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's a taunting video that sure. Interesting. So we'll keep up to date here. FBI doing their work, and we'll wrap the show today with a clip that was shared by The Blaze, and it's police. I believe is a chief or one of the officers from Minnesota talking about the ICE raids and the whole border situation.
It's especially personal to me, having been raised a Catholic, to be in a Christian church this morning as we are approaching Christmas. And I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years, how Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn.
What?
That's what we're getting ready to commemorate as Christians around the world, while all of fear is happening right here in our town.
They didn't sleep in the barn because they were considered outsiders. In fact, I think it actually makes the opposite of his point. They slept in the barn because there was no room in the inn. Read the Bible. There was no room in the inn. That's why they slept in the barn. They didn't walk up to the inn and the guy says, wow, we have so much stuff and so much room, but you're outsiders. You sleep in the barn. And you know why he also didn't say that? Because they weren't outsiders. They were citizens of Israel going to go take the census. They were literally citizens on an errand to confirm their citizenship. They had to go get counted because they were citizens. This guy, and you know it too. I should have expected it when he says, because of my Catholic
upbringing. I know that was the giveaway. I was like, oh no.
He didn't say because I am a Catholic, right? He's not a current Christian. He's not a current Catholic. He's a guy who got dragged to church a couple of times when he was younger and now thinks, he has the spiritual, moral, and theological superiority to absolutely make the opposite point he's trying to make using the Bible.
Butchering it. Now, if they said, well, they had to go to Egypt afterwards, to escape Herod's persecution. I mean, maybe you can make a connection to like a refugee type of situation. But even then, because when you dig into it, it's actually, it was part of the whole
Not
thing.
even. I mean, this is very Kamala Harris. Like, that's his
It
big
is. Well, that's the thing.
mistake.
Didn't she
That's his
make
big
the same
crime.
argument? Or somebody,
Yes.
some Democrat
No,
made
he
the same
did.
argument.
She did. He makes he commits the cardinal sin of trying to copy Kamala Harris on something as if she knows anything about anything. Mary and Joseph, there was no room in the inn. They were not foreigners. They were citizens of the place in which they were. They were running an errand to confirm because they were citizens. Has nothing to do with the point you're trying to make. And that's why you never listen to somebody who says, I'm saying this because I grew up Catholic. Okay. Thank you, St. Augustine.
This is the ugly side of having Christianity as sort of or at least the Christian ethics, if you will, be more mainstream again.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
There was a period of time, obviously, when we started the show and everything, where leftism, progressivism, Democrat type of stuff, they were the crown holders. They were the people sitting on the throne of culture. And for quite a while, for a few decades. And then, for religion, quote unquote, to come back in America, certainly, obviously, there's people just discovering the truth about Christianity and following Jesus. And I'm not saying it's all negative, but sort of the side effects of that is stuff like this, where you want to appeal and be kind of PC with culture, but you just butcher it because you haven't cracked open a Bible probably in a little while, and you're making a social statement, trying to use a biblical story and using it inaccurately. Very much satanic, I would say. Antichrist, at the very least. You can wield scripture to make your political point and just absolutely butcher the scriptures. So that's pretty typical.
Embarrassing.
But
It looks like he's
is
actually
embarrassing.
speaking at a church. It looks like he's standing up front at like a Spanish church or something.
Yeah,
Oh, well, that would make sense He's at a Spanish-speaking church. He's a white guy cop. He's trying to like be.
He's really trying to buy.
Yes, he's really trying
points,
to get his virtue signaling in.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Okay, well there you go.
Right.
That's state of the world.
Well, there you go, folks. What would you do without us? Thank you for everybody who came in and supported the Thank you to our executive producer who came in and supported the show. We are on the value for value model, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, police, unions, Venezuelan communist oil tycoons, nobody. We're entirely funded and sustained by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and the generosity of his people coming in saying, hey, we get value, I get value, we all get value, and we want to put value back in. It's the only way it stays alive. I mean, it's really a practice and personal responsibility. Speaking of Ayn Rand, the business people of Ayn Rand would not appreciate the value for value model, by the way. It's very offensive to them. But that's what we do here. It keeps us honest, keeps any funny money out of the way, keeps the advertisers from purchasing your consciousness through some sort of horrific dystopian consciousness broker called advertising. And you can produce the show with your talent, your time, and your treasure. Whoa, that felt weird. Your time, your talent, your treasure. That's right. You can support the show, volunteer, help us out with stuff. You can create art, create music, create graphics, whatever it is that you do. You can go to canarycry.art to help us out with that. Upload your art there. We'd love to feature it on the show. And if all else fails and the Lord has prospered you, you can support the show financially by going to canarycry.support. Yeah, we have an executive producer. For those who don't, first of all, big shout out, big thank you to the monthly producers. Pretty much the monthly producers, making sure the shows keep going during December. Monthlies and executive producers, thank you very much. That's a great way to just join the momentum and support something that brings value to your life or that you feel the Lord is using to bring value to the world, is to sign up for a monthly producership. Just say, hey, set it, forget it, I commit, I pledge. And if it weren't for you monthly producers, we'd be in big trouble this month. So thank you very much. Our executive producers are people who come in to support any individual episode with $100 or more. We have one executive producer today, and I bet you could guess. Ding, ding. You're right. It's executive producer, Sir LX Protocol, V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol. Thank you very much. Executive producer, Sir LX Protocol, V2 Baron of the Brian Protocol, comes in for $100 and 33 cents.
Thank you, sir.
On a 448 episode streak altogether and a 102 episode executive producer streak. 448 episodes. The past couple of years, we've been doing 2 episodes a week. So that's 100, 200. He's been supporting every episode for like 4 years or something.
I know. It's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's it for today. Well, let me go check. Let me refresh, see if anybody came in at the last second. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Thank you very much. We commit all of today's stories to executive producer Sir Alex Protocol, V2 Baron of the Brian Protocol. And we had one producer come in under the executive producer amount, and that's CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Hey,
we had a message in the chat from Garden Revelation 9603, says Canary coffee so dang good, by the way. Thank you very much, Garden Revelation 9603. Y'all should go to go to CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. Go check it out. This is coffee imported, roasted, packaged, and delivered all by Canarians. Roasted with small batches, a lot of love put in there. Beans from coming in from all over the world. And you asked and they answered. There's now the Coffee of the Month Club. You can sign up with a monthly subscription there. This is the parallel economy of Canarians making stuff for other Canarians so we can keep our hard-earned dollars out of the pockets of the big evil corporations that hate everything we stand for. So thank you very much to the folks over at CageRattlerCoffee.com. Highly recommend you go over there, folks. I drink it every day. Gons drinks it every day. It truly is a superior product.
Yeah, there's a box that just showed up for us, Basil. I gotta send you some more.
Yay!
Yeah,
and everybody says so. From customer service to the quality of the roast of the beans, it really doesn't get any better. And I can say so because that's exactly been my experience. Very grateful for Cage Rattler Coffee, and a portion of every sale comes to support the show. So we're grateful for that as well.
Yep.
And that's it for producers. So came in under the executive producer amount. It is, what is it? Wednesday? It is Wednesday. So we will thank our under $7.77 producers. They're usually coming in under that amount to keep some streaks going. And boy, oh boy, are their streaks going. We're going to start with Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman coming in for 176 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman.
Brittanica D coming in 535 episodes in a row.
Brittanica D, thank you.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth coming in for 584 in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott Knight of Truth.
And Sir Casey the Shield Knight coming in for 589.
Ooh.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
589, huh?
589.
Interesting number.
Let's see here. I want to give a shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. Woo! This is a great way to make sure you don't miss the show. YouTube, Rumble, they're not going to send you notifications when we go live. They send it to very few of our people. But that's why you got to take out your phone, open up the messages, and send the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Again, just the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you will receive a text message from me personally. I write them all, and I have fun doing it. And just as a little reminder, when we're starting the show, so you can watch it if you like or not if you don't like. But the fun part is you can send us text messages back at that number. I see them. I read them. I love them. I cannot carry on a conversation with you via text because it's very expensive for us. But you can be like 704, who texted relating to the Animal Farm Angel Studios video, says, Angel Studios is definitely pseudo-Christian. I mean, it's clean. I find a lot of the content to be a little bit mystical on the Angel app. Okay, they have an app. That's interesting. 708 texts and says, what's up, my dudes? Did you know that the BAR, BAR, is an acronym for the British Accredited Registry? Bar. Is that like lawyer bar? Like you pass that? So
Is
you're
that?
telling, I think, well, I don't know what else. Did we mention anything else? Bar? I think he's talking about the bar because British Accredited Registry. We're talking about the occultism of the legal system. So you're telling me that the people who write and interpret our laws are members of the British Accredited Registry, and everyone thinks it's the Jays. You're welcome. Thank you very much, 708. Yes, the British Empire, the modern British Empire with all of its history and all of its weirdness and corruption. A lot of people are kind of thinking that maybe the British Empire is kind of up to a lot of shenanigans and is also very good at making us all think otherwise. I don't know, but there certainly is a contingent. Certainly they have something to do with something.
I'm seeing articles written by the American Bar Association that tend to say that it does not stand for British Accredited Registry or Bankers Association or other similar claims. It actually
They are
comes from.
putting out articles about this. Well, that's suspicious.
Yeah, I know it's suspicious. They said the phrase being admitted to the bar originates from the let's see, what is this? Oh, because of the bar inside of a wooden bar or metal bar railing in English courtrooms. In English courtrooms that separated
Yeah, it's
judges
back
and
to
lawyers
the
from the public.
English,
So
baby.
back to English. So even
Back
though
to
they try to deny British accredited registry, still relates back to England. They can't help themselves. It's
What is the British? Let's look this up. British, what was it called?
accredited registry.
British Accredited Registry. What is British Accredited
The UK body responsible for accrediting, certification, inspection, and testing organizations. It's kind of like what we have here. I think we've got a similar accreditation. Like if you're in school, right? There's accredited schools and then non-accredited schools. It's sort of that's
well, it's all British to me, and that's what matters. Thank you very much.
British. Well, I mean, the whole Jay conversation, it was the Brits who sort of started the whole.
There would be no
Zionist
Israel. There would
thing.
be no modern
Yeah.
nation state of Israel if it weren't for the Brits.
Yeah, that's right.
787 says, "How about them Bears?" JK, I did stop listening to football to switch to listen to you guys. Thank you. Text message.
Oh,
alert.
good. Yeah, I thought they were talking about the bear market, not the Chicago Bears.
830 says, Lincoln says, Canary crying stargazer meetup in Abilene in the
Ooh.
formative stages. Okay, Abilene.
Ooh.
Where in the world is Abilene?
Abilene. How do you spell Abilene?
Texas? Is it Abilene, Texas? I don't know. Where is Abilene? I think it's Abilene, Texas. Yes, Abilene, Texas. Yeehaw! Okay, Texas. We need to put up.
There's a
up some
Kansas
sort of
too. There's an
poster
Abilene,
board.
Kansas.
I have been including in the newsletter contact information for people who want to put on meetups. The newsletter is not necessarily the most popular thing in the world, but there's a couple thousand people who get that if their email box allows them to. So if anybody wants to do a meetup, you can let me know. Give me your contact information. I'll put it into the newsletter, and hopefully other Canarians will get in contact with you. Okay, anybody else? Who's there? 859 says we're off to another amazing episode. Thank you. 785. Okay, 785 said something here that I vaguely remember, and I can't. I need your help. So 785 says, Basil, did you ever get in contact with Jim and Bob? I think it was maybe 400 episodes ago. You called out on the show that you were trying to get in contact with them. I remember putting out the call out for Jim, Bob, or Jim and Bob. I cannot for the life of me remember why that was. Do you remember?
The first thing that comes to mind is these are random names that you threw out there when you were trying to tell people to go tell the show to someone.
Yeah.
And you said something to the effect of Jim. Hey, your name is Jim, all Jims. But I don't know. It does ring a little bit of a bell, but I mean, I'm
it was like
drowned in the swamp of episodes, so I don't, it's
I
all
know
over.
it's so long ago. We're not going to remember anything, but I don't know. We may have gotten in contact with Jim and Bob. I don't remember, but you must be listening to some old episodes. There,
Yeah, you got to be pulling up some old stuff if you're
going in the back catalog. Okay. 661 texts and says, taking a shot of Kool-Aid every time Basil says locked in. Get locked in, folks. That's good. Thanks to everybody on there. And if you haven't yet, even if you're listening on the podcast version, you should text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Other than that, you have any announcements to make or anything to say?
Got more coming out on archetypalism in the Face Like the Sun Patreon.
Oh, yeah, good. Go do that. Go to the Face Like the Sun Patreon. Yes, this was kind of breaking during the show. Trump kind of confirmed that Dan Bongino is going to be leaving the FBI and that he wants to get back to podcasting. See, folks, podcasting, a better job than being the number 2 at the FBI. We'll see if there's a clip that came with that. I don't know if it's worth it, but yes, sounds like Dan Bongino. I mean, dude, what a bad situation that guy got put in.
Man, maybe the bottom line is that you are a more effective agent as a podcaster than
He's
any
definitely is
position
for sure. Yeah.
in the FBI.
Here's his tweet. I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, A.G. Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America. I think that means that they're not releasing the Epstein files on Friday. December 19th was the official deadline for them to release the Epstein files. I think
also when we find out about 3-Eye Atlas, it's going to be closest to the earth.
This is Dan Bongino saying, you're not getting the Epstein files. I'm going back to podcasting.
He's giving up.
Yeah.
He's throwing in the towel. He's like, fine. I'm going back to podcasting.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Dan. We didn't need you anyway.
That's pretty brutal. The Brazilian military is amassing on the border of Venezuela. So that's cool.
Yeah, we may not even have a South America by the time we get back on Monday. You never know. Things might change real quick.
Never know.
No.
Yeah, our
Trump
South
might just call it America.
We have a few people down there in South America who have kind of kept us updated. Pray for peace and safety for those. Okay, well, there you go. Thank you to all of our producers with your time, your talent, your treasure. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to our time stamper, Jade Bouncerson.
It's hard work.
Jade Bouncerson. I mean, might as well put that in the jingle,
Oh, yeah, get a jingle with Jade Bouncerson. We should. She's been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you to Jam. Heads up the Telegram channel. Adam 42 heads up the Discord channel. If you want to connect, get connected, have some sanity, have some conversations, find some fellowship, you can join the Telegram channel or the Discord channel if either of those are where you're at. You can find the invite links for those over at canarycry.party. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. And thank you to Sir Ike for everything you do for us. And share the show, folks. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with whoever's dressing up as Santa Claus at the mall, and let them know, if I were Santa's helper and I was a representative of Santa at a mall for a meet and greet, I would certainly be listening to a podcast the entire time. You can hide it under the big fluffy white hair or the hat. And you could simultaneously be bringing joy to all the children and getting some quality media deconstruction from a biblical perspective. And that's a little gift that we can all give this Christmas. Other than that, we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, you got any last words?
Tell everybody that they shouldn't have to go through life with propaganda every day, and that if you listen to the show, you don't have to. Thumbs up.
British families must be prepared to sacrifice, quote, their sons and daughters for the UK's war with Russia. We need to be ready to fight the new era of threat. That's the chief of the UK's air staff, Rich Knight.
Oh, boy.
Germany actually also just announced that they were reinstating the draft. Europe, we're praying for you, Europe. Dear Lord, it's gonna get crazy. Big announcement from Trump tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's probably in about 2.5 hours. We'll see y'all on the other side of this brave new world, the golden age of America. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, everybody. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
It might seem scary, so frightening. Get ready for it. Don't push your button. Let in your spaceship. It will be over. Let it already. It will be started. Robot girls, robot boys, all together in space. Robot girls, robot boys, all together in space. Robot girls, robot boys, all together in space. Robot girls, robot boys, all together. It's an invasion!
None is righteous, no, not one. No one understands. No one seeks for God. All have turned aside. Together they have become worthless. No one does good, not even one. Their throat is an open grave. They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of asps is under their lips. Their mouth is full of curses and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. In their paths are ruin and misery. And the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be stopped, and the whole world may be held accountable to God. For by works of the law, no human being will be justified in his sight, since through the law comes knowledge of sin, the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ, for all who believe. For there is no distinction, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and are justified by his grace as a gift, through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus.
Thanks for the invite, but I'll be on my way. There's a narrow path where I plan to stay. I seek a kingdom to serve and not be served. Don't want your new world orders, no. I don't want your new world orders, no. I don't want your new world orders. 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 I don't want
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry ways. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on, I have my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry ways. Canary, cry ways. Oh, canary, cry ways. Oh, the world's changing every day, each and every way you turn. There's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives, and as to see His glory shining like the sun. Run the race until it's done. Come on, everyone. Canary, cry ways. Oh, canary, cry ways. When your brain's in a haze and the headline days, come on, I have my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cried at